Sprayed coatings. Sprayed coatings were commonly used during the 50s, 60s, and 70s to provide fire protection to steel and reinforced concrete beams and columns, as well as heat and sound insulation to buildings. Sprayed coatings are less commonly found in domestic premises, but may be present in locations such as airing cupboards and around old boilers. The coating was applied via pressurized hoses, typically to the underside of roofs and floors, in service ducts and lift shafts, and occasionally to the sides of buildings. As it was very easy to overspray or get a splashback from the equipment used to apply the coatings, it is common for spray coating debris to still be present around the sprayed areas. Sprayed coatings are usually white or grey in colour with a rough surface, although they may have been overpainted. They can contain up to 85% asbestos and were manufactured using all of the three main asbestos types: chrysotile, amosite, and chrysidolite. Sprayed coatings are one of the most dangerous asbestos-containing materials. They are extremely friable, having a tendency to break up very easily, with even a minor disturbance potentially releasing large quantities of asbestos fibers into the air where they can be breathed in. You should never attempt to work on this material under any circumstances unless you are an HSE licensed contractor. Loose fill asbestos. Loose fill asbestos was used to insulate domestic premises, so can be found in between cavity walls, under floorboards, and in loft spaces. It is a loose, fluffy insulation material, similar to candy floss, which may be blue-grey or whitish in colour. Loose fill asbestos insulation is probably the most dangerous asbestos-containing material. It is made up of pure asbestos, and if disturbed, can release large amounts of fibers into the air. You should never attempt to work on this material under any circumstances unless you are an HSE licensed contractor. Lagging and insulation. Asbestos lagging and insulation was commonly used on heating systems, including steam boilers, hot water heaters, and hot water distribution pipework, most commonly in industrial and commercial properties, but was occasionally used in domestic situations. Asbestos lagging has many different appearances, but is mostly a fibrous material which flakes and powders easily. When applied to pipes, it was often covered in a protective coating or painted, which can be any color and may make it more difficult to identify. Asbestos lagging is one of the most dangerous materials containing asbestos. You are more at risk from breathing in asbestos fibers because disturbance of the lagging or insulation releases fibers very easily into the air that you breathe. Asbestos insulation board. Asbestos insulation board, commonly referred to as AIB, had many useful applications, including fireproofing as well as heat and sound insulation. It can be found in many locations, including ceiling tiles, bath panels, behind fuse boxes, partition walls, interior window panels, around boilers, behind fires, roof soffits, and exterior window panels. Identifying asbestos insulation board can be problematic. The board was manufactured as standard building items such as wall panels boards, ceiling tiles, and plasterboard, making it difficult to tell the difference between asbestos insulating board items and non-asbestos materials. Work on any type of asbestos can be dangerous. However, some short-duration work for small or minor tasks on AIB can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. This is defined by the regulations as less than 1 hour for one person in a 7-day period, not to exceed 2 hours spent by all workers. Short-duration work to remove AIB as part of demolition or major refurbishment would be notifiable. Any work lasting more than 1 hour for one person in a 7-day period, or more than 2 hours by all workers, would require a licensed contractor. Floor tiles, textiles, and composites. Asbestos floor tiles were once a popular choice for flooring, and you will often find old asbestos floor tiles hidden under carpets. Textiles can be found in old fuse boxes behind the actual fuse. Old fire blankets and heat-resistant gloves can also be made out of asbestos textiles. Asbestos composite was used to form many everyday items, including toilet cisterns, toilet seats, windowsills, and bath panels. Asbestos was also used as a filler in molded products, including bakelite products such as vintage telephones. Asbestos paper was used for lining under tiles and inside metal cladding. These asbestos-containing materials are not very distinctive from what is used now. If you are unsure, you should ask the owners about how long they've had certain things or look for a trade name. You should be able to look up this trade name on the internet to find out more about it. Work on any type of asbestos can be dangerous. However, tasks on these particular materials can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. Work on these materials would not normally be notifiable, provided that the material is in good condition. If the work is likely to cause significant breakup and deterioration of the material, then notification would be required. Textured coatings. Textured coatings, such as Artex, were used to produce decorative finishes on ceilings and walls. The coatings set hard to form as peaks or patterns. Originally white in color, most will have been painted over. Limited work on textured coatings can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. This work would generally not need to be notified. If the work is likely to cause significant breakup and deterioration of the material, such as large-scale removal using steaming or gelling methods, then notification would be required. Asbestos cement. Asbestos cement is mainly a mixture of chrysotile, white asbestos, and cement. In some cases, asbestos can make up over a third of the cement. It is a hard, grey material which was moulded and compressed to produce a range of asbestos cement products. You can find asbestos cement products in many places, inside and outside buildings, including asbestos cement roofs. These are mainly made up of large sheets of corrugated asbestos cement. They are often found as roofs on garages and sheds. They are often covered in moss and other growths, as they've been there for many years. Asbestos wall cladding. This has a shape and structure similar to roof sheeting and is often found on walls of buildings with asbestos cement roofs. Asbestos downpipes and gutters. These are often attached at the end of cement roofs. Other applications for asbestos cement products included water storage tanks and soffits. Work with asbestos cement can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. This work would generally not need to be notified. If the work is likely to cause significant breakup and deterioration of the material, for example, dropping an asbestos cement roof, then notification would be required. There may be very exceptional circumstances where the asbestos cement has been so badly damaged that there is significant risk of exposure to asbestos fibers. In these rare cases, a risk assessment will help to determine if a licensed contractor is required. Roofing felt. Asbestos roofing felt was often used on garage roofs and outbuildings. Work on asbestos roofing felt can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. Work on roofing felt would not normally be notifiable, provided that the material is in good condition. If the work is likely to cause significant breakup and deterioration of the material, then notification may be required.